Hello, everyone. This is A'shanti Gholar, the president of Emerge. Welcome back to another Races to Watch Live. We have been going live at the top of every hour since 10 a.m. Eastern, and we're going to end at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I am well, y'all have heard me say, I'm really excited about all of these that we're doing, but really excited about this one because I'm joined by two of my Emerge sisters, Erin Forrest, the ED of Emerge Wisconsin, and Rebecca McNichol, the ED of Emerge Pennsylvania. Y'all, these are the women that make it happen. When we talk about the ground game, 365 days a year, the recruitment, the training, the teaching women to run where they are, these are two of the women that make all of that happen. That 680 number includes women from their state. And I'm just so thankful to call them Emerge Sisters and for everything that they do. Erin, Rebecca, welcome to Races to Watch Live.
Thank you so much for having us. This is very exciting.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much.
So let's talk about what you're seeing on the ground. We know almost 100 million Americans have already voted. We know there's energy. Both of you are in battleground states, as they like to say, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. So what's it like on the ground? Because in some places we're hearing that it's actually pretty quiet because so many people early voted by mail, because they want to make sure that their vote was in and was in early.
Yeah, I mean, that is what we're seeing here. Like it's been smooth, it's been consistent, but really smooth sailing, which is good because I think in Pennsylvania as well as in Wisconsin, we are states that could not start counting those absentee ballots until Election Day. And so the sort of slow and steady that we've been seeing in most polling places in the state is giving those poll workers a chance to count all those ballots that came in ahead of time. We've got gorgeous weather. I haven't heard any reports of any major problems. Like, things are going really well here today.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. In Pennsylvania, we have unprecedented voter turnout across the Commonwealth. And the lines are really long, but everything I've heard is really positive, and people are really getting out there to vote, which is incredible. And just like Erin said, I know that the counties have been working really hard and they're ready to go processing the ballots and to start counting right at 8 o'clock tonight. And it's incredible. Pennsylvania's had over 3 million voters request absentee ballots. Prior to this year, you had to have an excuse. So it's been a dramatic, increase in undertaking. And we're also seeing a huge turnout at the polls as well.
Yes. I love the no excuse absentee voting. I'm in Virginia, and up until this year, you had to have an excuse. And before quarantine, like every year I was out in a state and they're like, why can't you vote? I'm like, because I'm not here, because I work in politics. I'm going to be out in a state. But I do want to talk about what is going on in your states. Rebecca, we know last night the Biden-Harris campaign actually held one of their final rallies in Philadelphia. So they're really wanting to win Pennsylvania. And we have some amazing Emerge alums who are on the ballot who can also flip some key seats, particularly in the State House. So what are some of the alums on the ballot that are going to have a great impact when they get elected?
Yes, so we are thrilled. This year in Pennsylvania, we have 31 Emerge alumni on the ballot running for office. It's our largest year yet. Yes, and it's super incredibly exciting. And to just start with the State House, just as you said, A'shanti, we are in striking distance for the Democrats to take control. We need to flip 9 seats, which at first might sound like a lot, but we are really within striking distance, and Emerge women are leading the way. We have 20 women running for state representative, and that includes 4 of our Merge women who were elected in 2018. So they're incumbents, and the remaining 16 women are challenging sitting Republicans and looking to flip those districts. And so it's incredibly exciting. They've all built very creative and really, innovative campaigns given COVID. But most importantly, they've been out there talking to voters on the phone from day one and really, encouraging people that they're going to represent their needs in Harrisburg. And we have women. The other incredible thing that's happening in Pennsylvania is we have women running in 38 of the 67 counties here in Pennsylvania, and really, which is fantastic. They're running all over the Commonwealth and actually in some, absolutely key counties, and really driving the whole ticket up and down because they're, building the grassroots, energized activists, and really helping with the voter turnout. So, we're thrilled. Some of, the really incredible women include veterans. We have, a bunch of women, including Claudette Williams, who was a sergeant in the military on the front lines in Afghanistan, Deb Siamaka, who also served in the military and then was then taught for over 20 years. We have one of my other absolutely incredible women is running in Western Pennsylvania, Lissa Geiger-Schulman, who literally gave birth to her 3rd child in February during petition season, and just got back on the campaign trail within 2 weeks. It's amazing. And so again, they really just represent the wave of people who are so thrilled to get into politics to make a real difference for our communities. And then we have the state Senate, where we have 9 women running, which is absolutely incredible. We need to pick up 4 seats to flip control. And again, we have Janet Diaz, who is the first Latina woman in any party running in Pennsylvania for state Senate, which is kind of incredible that that's where the state is. But she is doing a phenomenal job in Lancaster County, which is, 10 years ago would just be unheard of that a Democrat has a real shot to flip that seat. One of the other incredible women running for state Senate is Carolyn Comida, who for Emerge was our first woman elected to the state house in 2016. She was in our first class, and now she's running for state Senate, which is exactly what we want to do, build the pipeline and have women running. So that's really exciting and fantastic. And then just to top it off, we have 2 women running for Congress here in Pennsylvania. One of them is Christina Finello, which is Congressional District 1. It's one of the top seats in the country to defeat Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. And it's right outside of Philadelphia. We're really excited for her chances and for the organization she built. And also Christy Ginimbus out in Erie, on the ground, really, again, activating and mobilizing support to make a difference and continue to, to take back our Congress.
And I love everything that you said, and honing in on Janet Diaz. That's so important because all the time people really don't believe me when I say that there are women of color, LGBTQ women who have never been elected to seats in states. And people think we're joking. We're like, no, it is 2020 and there still hasn't been a Latina elected. So important the work that you're doing. And Erin in Wisconsin, not only today, but y'all had a lot going on in April as well. At the beginning of the pandemic, you had almost 60 Emerge alums on the ballot. You have more alums on the ballot today. So give us the rundown of what's happening in Wisconsin.
Yeah, so we did. Our elections are the first Tuesday in April. So even though it feels like 6 years ago, it wasn't. And we had to make a very, very quick turnaround in the spring. And those are largely municipal races, but also in presidential years, every county board seat in the state is up. And we had a pretty high profile state Supreme Court race as well. So we had a real baptism by fire with voting by mail. We've always had, always, in as long as I've been alive, we've had no excuse absentee voting in Wisconsin, but it was never utilized like it was in the spring. And so we learned a ton. We had these obviously very dedicated public servants who are working in all of these clerk's offices. Our elections are also administered sort of differently in Wisconsin. Our Secretary of State doesn't do the elections. We have an elections commission, and they're all sort of run by individual municipalities. So we have like 1,300 clerks who are running elections in Wisconsin today, but they're all very dedicated to their jobs, did a phenomenal job of recruiting poll workers. And like I said, that operation is running really smoothly. Where you might see delays in Wisconsin is in some of these, I think there are 18 municipalities that have central counts. So they're counting their absentee ballots totally separately from the polling places. And again, it's normal. It's something we're anticipating. Like it's probably going to be a while before we have all the votes counted in Wisconsin tonight. And that's totally as it should be. But when this cycle began, we were really talking about making sure that the Republicans didn't get a veto-proof majority in our state house or our state senate. We were 3 seats away. We are 3 seats away in both of those bodies. And let me tell you, the conversation is a lot different today than it was then, right? When we were like, maybe we could pick up another seat in the Milwaukee suburbs. A lot of the seats in the Milwaukee suburbs are looking very, very promising. Also, there are some seats that are competitive near Green Bay, which was not something that people thought was going to happen at the beginning of this cycle, right? And some women in southwestern Wisconsin with a good chance, right? Like we really, as a progressive community in Wisconsin, that we're very proud to be a part of, worked very hard to expand that map and to try to take advantage of the changing situation, right? And to make sure that with this enthusiasm that's being generated at the top of the ticket, that people know how critically important it is to vote all the way down their ballot. You know, we have a legislature in Wisconsin who really did not do a good job with COVID response. And we have a lot of women out there today working very hard to make sure that people know that there's an alternative, despite horrible gerrymandering and all of these other things that we've dealt with. You know, there's never a dull moment in Wisconsin. But I'm thrilled with the amount of work that these candidates have done. And I feel good that they're giving voters a real choice.
I love it. Yes. Erin and Rebecca always have interesting updates on the staff calls about what is happening in their states. But one of the things that we've been talking about today, not only with candidates, but just in general, how we need to make politics more accessible for women, for young people, for people of color. And we can't deny there's been enthusiasm. We have seen it since the first states started voting. So how are you seeing the ecosystem working with people just really wanting to get involved in politics and doing that relational organizing, which we know is so key during this time when you can't do your traditional door knocking and phone banking and in-person town halls? Having that person-to-person contact has been so key. So what are some of the things that you're seeing? And Erin, we'll start with you because we were talking about this a little bit before we came on live.
Yeah, no, I was just talking to one, I judge a little bit by the quote unquote the normal people that I'm friends with, and the enthusiasm from them, and the number of people who have volunteered for the first time on an election this cycle is huge. But also a lot of our folks who are out just like checking on polls, making sure everything is okay, are trying to do some relational organizing in Democratic areas as people are coming out of the polls from a legal distance. And so they're talking to folks and asking them to text 3 of their friends to make sure that they voted. And the enthusiasm that folks are seeing for that today is huge. And it's because I think people don't, as excited as people are, most people don't know how to get involved in a campaign, right? Unless you know someone who's running, or get involved, very early on. It can be sort of hard to navigate and figure out. So that's one of the things that I'm super excited about. In all of the horrible and hard things in this pandemic, I really think the ways that we've needed to get creative and needed to do more relational organizing are going to be really good for democracy, because they're going to bring people in who wouldn't have necessarily been active in this process before outside of voting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, that has been one of the most inspiring things I've seen over the last 6 months during the pandemic is the innovation in so many of our women's campaigns. And it's partly because they come at it, a lot of Emerge women who are running are new to politics. A lot of them have different backgrounds and they're bringing those skills and they're not afraid to try. I think the pandemic actually allowed candidates and campaigns to try new tactics and see what worked. And I think the second piece of it is that a lot of our candidates, some of like their strongest volunteers are students, whether they're high school students or college students, and they're putting out really innovative and creative, videos on social media, doing, relational organizing, reaching out to voters in different ways. And it's really exciting. And a lot of those volunteers, it is their first time involved in politics, and they're really seeing that they can make a difference and shape it, and that is definitely what we need in Pennsylvania. We need some new blood, and so it's really exciting. And I think that the second piece that has been really fantastic for our candidates is, again, like the Emerge Pennsylvania network, right? And I'm so inspired to see so many people, women helping each other throughout the state and the network, and both, through volunteers, through different ideas, through, really everyone has been stepping up and helping those 31 women on the ballot. And that's been so key and so inspiring to this cycle.
The power of the Emerge Network, as we like to say. Erin, Rebecca, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I can't wait until tomorrow when I get to brag about all the Emerge Wisconsin, Emerge Pennsylvania women that are elected to office, and knowing that all started with you all giving them the tools, the resources, the support that they needed. So thank you for everything you do every day for this network and our alums.
Thanks, team. See you on the other side.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you at the top of the next hour for another Races to Watch Live. See you soon.